Marina drove down a narrow dirt road. The wind howled through the crowns of old trees, sweeping leaves across the path and giving the impression that the forest itself was watching her. Moonlight filtered through the clouds, reflecting off the wet ground, and every bush looked like a dark figure ready to step onto the road. She had long since lost the GPS signal. The road seemed to lead not to the house, but straight into the heart of the forest. Her heartbeat grew faster, and every sound bounced between the trees, the creaking of branches, the soft rustling of leaves, as if something was moving nearby. Finally, she saw it, the old house at the edge of the clearing. The wooden walls were blackened with rot, the roof sagged, the windows were boarded up. Yet a strange light seeped through the cracks, warm and dim, as if the house were breathing. When Marina pushed the creaking door open, a wave of cold hit her shoulders, sending goosebumps across her skin. The air was thick, reeking of dampness and something ancient, a mixture of mold and forgotten life. Inside, silence reigned. The house seemed to be holding its breath. She turned on her flashlight. Its beam flickered, weakly illuminating dusty shelves with faded photographs, scraps of newspapers, and old furniture. Every room felt larger than it should have been, and the shadows cast by the flashlight moved independently, as if alive. Suddenly, a quiet sound echoed through the house. The floorboard creaking upstairs. Marina froze. "It's just an old roof," she tried to reassure herself. But her heartbeat grew louder, and she felt unmistakably that she was not alone. A strange smell drifted into the corridor, sweet like old honey, mixed with something rotten. She took a step forward, and the rustling sound repeated, as though someone was slowly sliding across the dark room, watching her. The flashlight flickered. For a brief moment, Marina saw something on the wall, a silhouette, tall, thin, with distorted arms. She blinked, and it was gone. But the feeling of being watched lingered, thick and oppressive, as if the house didn't care what she thought. Marina closed the front door, and the silence inside grew even heavier, as though the air itself thickened and settled onto her shoulders. The flashlight trembled in her hands, casting long, distorted shadows across the walls. They seemed to move on their own, following the light a fraction of a second too slowly, as if trying to catch it. She took a few steps forward. The floor creaked beneath her feet so loudly it sounded like it was complaining about her presence or warning her. The room on the left was filled with old furniture, a massive wardrobe lost in darkness, a table with chipped legs, and a rocking chair that moved slowly on its own. Even though the windows were shut and there was no draft, Marina stopped. The chair rocked again, harder this time, as if someone had just risen from it and disappeared into the corridor. Then she felt the smell, sharp and metallic, like old blood mixed with dampness. It was coming from the wardrobe. As she approached it, Marina noticed faint scratches on the door, as if someone had tried to claw their way out from inside. The scratches ran downward, gouged deep into the wood, almost evenly spaced, like marks left by claws. The flashlight flickered. She reached for the handle, but then a sound came from inside. A quiet thud, then another and another, slow, rhythmic, like someone knocking from the inside, counting down the seconds until the door opened. Marina jerked back. The flashlight nearly slipped from her hands. Silence. Not a single sound. Only her breathing, sharp and ragged, and the pounding of her pulse in her ears. Half of her wanted to open the wardrobe to see what was inside. The other half screamed for her to run. Before she could move, a whisper drifted from deeper in the hallway, very soft, barely audible. "Ma-ri-na." She froze. The whisper returned, not like any voice she had ever heard, too deep, as if it came not from a human mouth, but from the earth beneath the house. "Ma-ri-na, come." The flashlight's beam revealed the staircase leading to the second floor. On the first step lay something. She carefully approached. It was a photograph, old and yellowed. In the picture stood a family, a man, a woman, and a little girl about 6. They were standing in front of this very house. The parents' faces were clear, but the girl's face was completely blurred, as if someone had deliberately wiped out her features, leaving only a dark smudge where the eyes should have been. A cold shiver ran down Marina's spine. At that moment, another sound echoed from upstairs, a heavy step, then another and another. Someone was walking on the second floor, slowly, rhythmically, as if aware she was listening. Then the footsteps stopped, and the door upstairs, the old creaking door, slowly began to open. Every inch of the screeching hinge sent a cold ache through Marina's chest. She couldn't see what stood behind it, only the dark doorway, dark but not empty, because from that darkness came a sound, a quiet, barely audible breathing, not her own, not human. The breathing from the darkness grew heavier, slow, uneven, as if the thing behind the door had been sleeping for a very long time and was only now awakening. Marina's throat tightened. Every instinct screamed for her to turn back, to run out of the house, into the forest, anywhere but here. But her legs carried her forward, step by step. The staircase groaned under her weight, as though protesting her ascent. Halfway up, the air became colder. A thin white mist rose from the wooden steps, swirling around her ankles like fingers curling upward. Each breath she took felt like inhaling frozen needles. The flashlight trembled violently in her hand. At the top of the stairs, the door stood open only a crack, pitch black beyond it. No light, no movement, only the rasping breath from within. Marina pushed the door with her fingertips. It opened silently, unnaturally silently, as if the house didn't want to make a sound. Inside was a bedroom, or what used to be one. The wallpaper peeled in long strips like decaying skin. The ceiling sagged, and the bed in the center was collapsed inward, its mattress torn open, stuffing spilling like pale entrails. But Marina's attention was drawn to the far wall, because someone had covered it with dozens of drawings, child's drawings, all in black, drawn with frantic strokes, depicting the same figure, tall, distorted, with arms too long, legs too thin, and a face replaced by a dark smudge. And below each drawing, in shaky handwriting, was a name: Marina, 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 over and over. Her breath caught. A cold breeze passed behind her, though the windows were sealed. Slowly, she turned. Something stood in the corner, behind the door, tall, still, watching her with a face that wasn't a face, only darkness, shifting like thick smoke. The flashlight beam landed on it for a fraction of a second, and the figure twitched, not stepped, twitched, as though its joints didn't bend like human ones. Marina stumbled back. The creature moved. A short, jagged movement, its limbs jerking in unnatural angles. Then came the whisper, the same voice that called her name before, but now it was clearer, closer, inside her skull. "You came back." Marina shook her head violently. "No, I've never been here." The whisper laughed, a dry, broken sound like wood splitting. "You were always here." The creature took another twitching step. Its shadow spread across the floor, stretching longer and longer until it touched her shoes. The room tilted, the walls bending inward as if the house were collapsing around her. her vision blurred. The drawings on the wall seemed to pulse, the dark figure inside each picture pushing outward, pressing against the paper, trying to crawl out. Stay. The house shuddered. The floorboards buckled. The door slammed shut behind her with finality. The last thing Marina saw before the flashlight died was the creature's hand, long, thin, impossibly cold, reaching for her face. She tried to scream, but the darkness swallowed the sound before it could leave her throat, and then silence. Complete, suffocating silence. The forest outside remained still. The house stood as it always did, crooked, rotting, quiet, waiting. When the wind blew, the boards on the upstairs window rattled softly, almost like someone inside was tapping, trying to get out, or trying to call someone in.